My name's Steve Martin. I'm a safeguarding training consultant. I've worked for local authorities for 30 plus years. I specialise in safeguarding in education. There can be no greater responsibility on schools than their duty to safeguard children. And a major part of that safeguarding is that element of how they record all that they do. There's been a lot of news lately of the Daniel Pelker Serious Case Review, the East Sussex Serious Case Review, where schools are heavily criticised for their recording processes. Working with TASC, we've designed a system that's been long awaited, I think, in schools to help them, to help you, to safeguard children. And that's a recording system. A recording system that takes away the need for all of the pieces of paper that you might use, for the entries into the notes, into the diaries and so on. And this system, Cura, has been devised and developed to try to ensure that you actually have all the information that you need to hand and easily accessible to those people that need to have it in relation to every child and every concern that's been made against that child. One thing that a school needs to ensure is that every adult who works within the school has got access to be able to record that information. That currently might be done on scraps of paper in the teacher's diary, or it's just kept up here sometimes, isn't it? What this system allows you to do is to collate all of that information into one place so that those people that you give authority to can access that information. Ofsted has been quite critical of schools in the way that they record this sort of information. Ofsted have produced a document called Best Practice in Safeguarding, and in there it makes it very clear what they expect schools to do in relation to recording of information that they have about children. So what Cura is able to do is to collect from the most insignificant piece of information that you have to the most serious piece of information, put them all together in one place, and offers you the facility to analyse that, to make sure that the work is undertaken to follow that up, to review each action that's taken, and to make sure that the appropriate person is aware of what's going on for the child. Cura has been designed so that everybody can access the system to put information on, but it is very much restrictive to those that can access it to read it. So if anybody has a concern about a child, they simply go onto the system, search that particular child and enter the information. That way the only information that the person can see is about the individual child. So what the system allows us to do is to collate all the information that all the individual staff members have had about a child. It puts it all into the one place. It ensures that only those people who are supposed to have access to that detailed information actually see that. And it then can produce that information in a variety of ways that you would want it to do. For example, it can create a case chronology. So all that data that's listed is in there. It collects the information that supports the assessment framework, so that when staff are going to child protection case conferences, for example, then there is a clear information system already there to show you and to be able to explain to other professionals about the concerns that you have about the child across the triangle. One of the concerns that was raised in the Daniel Pelker Serious Case Review was that the school had got a number of different methods for recording the concerns that they had about Daniel. What Cura does is that it puts all that information together in one place, from the most insignificant piece of information that somebody decides to write about a child to the most serious from the child protection. So it gathers what we call perhaps concerns or niggles or the serious child protection matters and puts them all in one place, so that the reader can see a full history of the child and be able to do a thorough assessment on all the information that the school has been able to produce. One of the things that the East Sussex Serious Case Review showed was that the information perhaps wasn't dated, it wasn't signed, it wasn't date stamped, and in fact there was some suggestion by the Serious Case Review that the information was added at a later date. This system would ensure that the school was working with safeguarding in the correct manner, and it had all the detailed information that was needed. One of the things that we know about recording is that it should be done as soon as possible. Having undertaken serious case reviews myself in the past, one of the problems that we've experienced is that sometimes you just can't read the information that's presented to you. Often it isn't signed or dated, and Cura will ensure that it is both legible and also fulfills the requirements needed to be able to present this information to to court perhaps, or to case conferences at a later date. So how does it all work? The system is tried to be as simple as it possibly can be. It starts off by you entering in the child that you want to make the comment on. You are then asked to decide what sort of comment is it. Is it a meeting or a concern or a parents' meeting? All of those sorts of types can be put on into Cura for access at a later date. What the system really, the power of the system is that the information might be put on there, and that information has to be reviewed by the appropriate person. It might be the designated member of staff if it was a serious child protection issue. It could be a form tutor if it was a concern somebody made about that particular child. But in reviewing it, there is a clear audit trail and that the information has been entered and that somebody is going to do something about it, or in fact they've decided there's nothing needed to be done, but that decision has to be made. And then if the action is taken, it takes you through the process to ensure that that action actually is carried out at some stage within the timescale as defined by the reviewer. Cura has been designed to address the issues of the Daniel Pelker Serious Case Review. One of the issues there was that individual pieces of information were stored and yet weren't necessarily shared with other members of staff, and so nobody undertook an holistic assessment of the needs of Daniel. In other words, they weren't marrying up his attendance issues with his food stuff, and the education welfare officer was advised that he'd been absent from school, but was given no further information about the background of everything else that was going on in relation to Daniel. Cura makes sure that all that information is available against that child, and so that you can quickly analyse the issues. Again, by looking at the assessment framework, you can see very easily, and Cura promotes you to think, where are these issues? Are they with the child? Are they with the family, etc.? And so Cura helps you make those decisions about what you should be doing next. One of the things that the system is able to do, provided you've got the information in your data systems, is it will produce for you a genogram, or at least the beginnings of a genogram. It will show you if system recognises that there are siblings within the school, significant adults and those with parental responsibility, if indeed you've entered those into your information systems. But Cura will bring that all together for you and start you off with that visual representation of what's going on about the child. This is obviously very important because we know with various cases and research that what happened to one child may well be happening to another child as well. And so to think about that holistic issue, again to see the importance of the parents and the adults involved in the family and to see their relevance is really useful on a genogram. And if you were the designated member of staff going to a case conference, you would have this information available to you in hard copy if you printed it off, so that you can explain to the conference what you know about the family dynamics. Where the information is stored is obviously going to the school, but it will be on a secure server somewhere within the school, and the school would arrange for that data to be backed up in the normal way. This therefore ensures that the data is very secure, that we can have various levels of encryption and access available for the system that the school would want to use, and so that the school is able to ensure that only those people who've got the appropriate access can read the appropriate information about the child. Everybody would be able to identify a child, obviously to put the right information on it, but they would see no more information than that.